A 23-year-old, you heard that right, will become the next mayor of Bogalusa.
Tyrin and shared our post. It took all of us to get here. This is our win tonight.
It was a speech Bogalusa Mayor-elect Tyrin Truong wasn't sure he'd give Tuesday night.
Everybody kept saying it's going to be a runoff, so I prepared 2 speeches just in case.
When the numbers came in, it was the victory speech the 23-year-old used to thank supporters after a campaign he says was tough and often met with skepticism.
You always have to meet with community leaders. That's the first thing that you do with somebody who's running for office, and more than one laughed at me in my face when I said that I was running for mayor.
So this was the celebration back in 2022 on election night when Tyrin Young, a 23-year-old black man, was elected mayor of a Louisiana town, becoming one of the youngest people and one of the youngest black people to ever serve as a mayor in the state of Louisiana. And you could see there is shock, there's jubilation from a bunch of different people. He seemed to run a quite wholesome campaign where he was pictured holding his baby, so he's a black father in the life of his child. And wouldn't you know it, 2 years to the day from Inauguration Day, he would be raided by the DEA, by the Louisiana State Police on charges that include having a drug trafficking empire, shipping guns to criminals, and of course, spending a lot of his time and money that he earned through these illicit operations hanging out with prostitutes. It's absolutely crazy what is going on in this particular case. This may be a story of DEI gone wrong, and we're talking not just about race, but definitely about age, and it's absolute madness from top to bottom. But before we get into that, I just want to say thank you to everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
Hey, Travers, I'm actually in Bogalusa. I'm right at City Hall where there's been a police presence since earlier this morning. Just moments ago, Bogalusa police had the entire street blocked off to driving traffic leading up to City Hall because just inside, Louisiana State Police are still inside investigating criminal charges against Bogalusa's 25-year-old mayor, who is now being arrested and charged with soliciting prostitutes, using drug money, among other crimes. Tyrin Young, according to the Louisiana State Police, state troopers say the investigation not only uncovered a drug trafficking operation, but a network that supplied firearms to people who can legally own them, firearms tied to violent crimes.
So first of all, I want to take note of the fact that for whatever reason, the mugshots associated with Tyrin Young all have stamped on them innocent until proven guilty. Now, this is technically legally true, and it is important for you to understand that right now this is alleged. These are allegations, or as the super mayor, another criminal mayor, would call them allegations.
False allegations and not facts.
So at this moment in time, he is, of course, obviously innocent until proven guilty. That being said, I find it rather interesting that the DEA, along with state law enforcement, have raided this person's house, have raided the houses and arrested 6 of his associates, and suddenly he has $150,000 as a 25-year-old person. Again, he was elected at age 23. He was arrested 2 years to the day that he was sworn in office at age 25, and it seems like this case is absolutely crazy from top to bottom, but to be fair, it is all alleged. Allegedly, this is a DEI hire gone completely wrong.
Tuesday evening at the Washington Parish Council meeting, District Attorney Colin Sims updated the community on major arrests.
There was a large drug trafficking organization yet again operating in this area.
It came just hours after one of the arrestees, Bogalusa Mayor Tyrin Truong, was released after paying his $150,000 bail. Truong was arrested and booked with 6 other suspects for allegedly selling illegal drugs, using the profits to buy firearms, and then giving those guns to people who can't legally own firearms, or even people who went to use those guns in crimes in Bogalusa.
Now, of course, this young man, Tyrin Young, has a bunch of different supporters in the community. Obviously, you can see the district attorney in this area is white, and make no mistake about it, part of the reason why he was elected was due to racial politics, and you can see clearly seen, obviously, in the group of people that are supportive of him, that there appears to be a racial undertone to that. So they're saying, oh my God, an innocent Baba Angel black person is such a great guy, such a wonderful guy, you can't arrest him for these crimes. But I do want to point out, if these allegations are proven true, what this man was doing was absolutely shameful. Now, again, I don't know how you guys feel about drug trafficking. Some of you say it depends on the drugs and all that. I completely understand that, but he was using the money from the drug trafficking to participate, again, allegedly, in firearms trafficking, where he gave guns to known criminals, and those guns did in fact appear in a bunch of different crimes around the community. So you have an instance where a guy who, granted, had a great public image before, was a father, was in his child's life, you can actually see campaign stuff where he's holding his kid, was actually arming the criminal underworld in the community, if these allegations are to be true, and that was having disproportionate negative impacts on black people. But you have black people supporting him because of this is their young, innocent, Baba Angel black mayor who couldn't do anything wrong. But again, if you look at some of the documentation surrounding this, it's actually pretty solid.
Neighbors at today's parish council meeting spoke in support of the mayor until the council ordered them to stop.
My job as DA is to prosecute based upon evidence alone. I don't care who it is.
And over at the jail, more of the mayor's supporters spoke on his behalf.
The charge stinks, and so does the warrant. He's not involved with drugs or prostitution at all.
So here you have one of these people who are saying that these charges stink. The mayor is not involved in drugs and guns and prostitution and all the different various things that he's being accused of. But I think some honest, genuine questions should come up to the forefront. And first and foremost among those questions is this guy related, or does he know in any way, shape, or form any of the 6 individuals that were also arrested along with him? Because if they're his group of friends and whatnot, and there is a connection, then that would lend credence to the allegations that he was somewhat involved. In addition to that, I will also point out that indicting and charging a young black mayor that got a lot of fanfare when he was initially elected is not something that a bunch of these different white officials want to do, especially when that person is of the opposite party. So there's a lot of different political implications to getting this wrong. So the chances are, if they have some strong evidence, which we have yet to see, this guy probably was doing something, bare minimum the prostitute thing. Although I will say, in defense of the mayor, the fact that they keep bringing up the prostitution element of it, to me, is a significantly lesser charge than all the other ones, which is a mayor dealing drugs and dealing guns to criminals, and those guns ending up being used in a bunch of different homicides. So I'm a little worried that might have a smear element to it. That's not all that interesting to me. It definitely negatively impacts his family-oriented image, obviously, but again, prostitution or seeing a prostitute being a John, to me, is not high on the list of problems that I would have with this mayor if the indictment were proven to be true.
State police say that they conducted their investigation into the mayor over several months this past spring. Attorney General Liz Murrill weighed in on the case Tuesday morning.
He's charged with prostitution charges as well, and spending public money in relation to this larger RICO case.
Truong's father says the investigation is politically motivated.
They had the people that don't like him, that's higher power, they got them involved in this.
This is a conspiracy against him. I say it now and I'll say it forever. You know, he's not guilty of any of these charges.
Murrill says more arrests could soon come.
It is an ongoing matter. And I think that you'll continue to hear us address problems in the city of Bogalusa.
Now, look, I also want to point out a couple of things. Even though this guy is clearly and obviously a Democrat, and by the way, he's somebody who had higher ambitions in Democratic Party politics. He had unsuccessfully ran for a Democratic chair position in the state of Louisiana. The fact of the matter is, by some of the accounts of his politics, he appears to be at least a little bit of a mixed bag in terms of policy. So this is not necessarily a situation with the super mayor where she's constantly pushing race and all of that. However, in the category of pushing racial issues, apparently when he took office, a black man died in the custody of the police, and he pushed for a resignation from the top cop because of that. However, conversely, instead of being one of these defund the police type of people, he was actually also pushing for the police to patrol neighborhoods more in order to drop down crime. Now, if this guy was also committing crimes at the same time, that would be an irony on top of an irony, but the fact of the matter is, again, based on these brief accounts from this New York Post article, he had mixes in his positions, but who knows? Maybe the tides were churning while he was in office, so he started off one way and started moving to a more sane direction.
23 years old, was the youngest mayor the city ever had, the youngest mayor in our state, actually. This is a look at the large law enforcement presence seen at his home this morning. And for more on these developments, we're going to send things over to North Shore reporter Shawanda Jones from Bogalusa. And Shawanda.
Now, that being said, he also had other instances of potential corruption throughout his career that, again, date back to as recent as July, when an auditor found out that it seems like he was making improper payments with tax dollars to certain vendors. In July, the state's legislative auditor's office claimed he made improper payments to employees and had signed illegal contracts with vendors, among other things. His half-brother was also arrested in 2023 in connection with the fatal shooting at a high school basketball game, prompting Young to tell the local station that, quote, "We all have family members that are doing things that we are not proud of." Now, again, to be fair, if I were running for office and I had a sibling that did something like that, that's a perfectly adequate and sensible statement, and maybe in this small town of 10,000 that may have issues with crime, that made him more relatable as the brother who kind of got out of that criminal lifestyle, or got out of that criminal element, and of course went to university and of course was running for mayor. Maybe that was a part of his appeal. However, obviously these charges would indicate that maybe that was not the case if proven to be true, and the fact of the matter is we're going to have to wait for this investigation to play out, for this court case to play out, and as of right now he is out on bail, so he will be able to maintain his political office for however long the political pressure allows him to do so while he faces down these particular charges. But again, it is just yet another obvious sign of somebody who is elected probably due to innate characteristics like age, specifically in this case, rather than qualifications, turning out to be a bad manager, to have issues with paying certain things on time, and then, if these allegations are true, actually being a legitimate street-level criminal while also being in office. Now look, with all of that being said, there's actually one additional crime that nobody is highlighting in any of these news reports. In fact, it is such a stealth thing that I discovered while researching into this story that it doesn't actually appear in the charging documents as some of the criminal charges that Mayor Young is facing. And of course, this has to do with the spelling of his last name, because I've been calling him Mayor Young repeatedly throughout the course of this video because that's what the local news agencies are calling him. But make no mistake about it, in no way, shape, or form does this spell Young at all whatsoever.
Tyrin Young, according to the Louisiana State Police, state troopers say the investigation not only uncovered a drug trafficking operation, but a network that supplied firearms to people who can legally own them, firearms tied to violent crimes.
Truong is not Young. I don't know where we got the Young. I don't know who told this man, who told his family that a Y could be replaced by a TR, but TR equals Tra. This man should be pronounced Truong, and I think honestly that this last name, among all the different allegations that he's facing, is honestly the most criminal, and something that he definitely 100% should do jail time with, should be forced by a judge to change. And by the way, if you guys out there in the audience are aware of this name actually spelling Young due to some ethnic origin of the name that I am unfamiliar with, I just want you guys to understand something. Shut your face. Shut up. My name is literally spelled S-E-A-N, and somehow that produces Sean, an S-H sound. So obviously, I don't give a damn about hypocrisy. I'm calling this out. I'm making my stand right here because you know what? Sean is the real way. That is the Irish way. That is the traditional way. And I have no idea what the origin of this name is, so I'm taking a stand against it. So again, if you want to correct me in the comments, do so at your own peril, because when you leave a comment on one of my videos, I hire a team of experts in order to find the most embarrassing information on you humanly possible, and I strike back against you. So yeah, if Truong is actually young in whatever ethnic origin, whatever different group around the world has that, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know it. I honestly, I'd probably be curious to hear it, but whatever, I'm making a stance right here, and this is a criminal last name. Hey guys, editing Sean here. Well, it turns out throughout the course of my research into this story, when I ended up watching a bunch of different various local news segments, it is in fact pronounced Truong, which means that this local news lady made a horrible mistake, but my brain is so sophisticated, so intelligent, so high level that I was able to detect that error, call it out for what it was, and prove it 100% wrong. So yes, everybody who is defending the young pronunciation, go away. Never talk to me again. I was right, and in fact, I think me believing that it was pronounced Truong instead of young actually quite literally changed the pronunciation. I have altered reality with my thoughts, and all of you should be in fear of my great and magical powers. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you liked the video, show them by leaving a like. Subscribe for more content. Follow me on my social media. Support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about Mayor Truong, not Young, being indicted on charges of drug trafficking, prostitution, and weapons trafficking. Till next time.